Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus, where we've been doing Eden runs, trying to get a little sampler plate for what's going on in the booster pack. Not always has it worked out, but we've had some fun runs, we've had some challenging runs, and hoping to integrate a few more booster pack items on this run if we get the chance. 2 TD1, 7 MYQ. Gotta be honest, DPS stats are out of control good. And the relic is incredible, and our HP would be a little bit of a cause for alarm, were it not for the fact, that, you know, we have the relic to go along with it. So, we know, and I was pretty confident of this when I looked at that spawn room, but we probably have a library on the eastern edge of that spawn room. Probably, at least possibly, let's not say probably yet, but seems likely we might be able to use 2 bombs in order to get our way in there via a secret room. And honestly, if that gave me Bookworm, we'd be sitting real pretty early on this run. You know, we've had a couple of runs. The last run was actually very good. Oh, I really thought we could kick him into the Tinted Rock. The last run was admittedly very good, but it started a little slow. This one, we're kind of in a different mindset here. I gotta be honest though, even if we don't get Bookworm and we're saddled with Telepathy for Dummies, there's worse books to have. At least it's once every 2 rooms. So I was thinking about not blowing this up until I saw where we stood on the rest of this floor. I think we should go to our item room first, see where we stand for the rest of this. Or as Dave Grohl would say, is someone seeing where you stand on the rest, the rest? Too bad it's not the basement 2, because I could have gone the basement 2. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. So now that we have a key, we have access to the library. Mom's bottle of pills I would describe as a... Whoa! As a slap in the freaking face, dude. That's alright. They've made up for it. I don't like that item. I think that item is actually bad. Or not good enough. Let's put it that way. Secret room, maybe? Okay, that's fantastic news. And actually, this is a great placement for another shopkeeper, although he didn't have what was promised. And you know what? It looks like we will have an opportunity to actually experience a new, well, a new-ish item at least. This is the one item from the booster pack that seems to show up all the freaking time, but I'm not complaining. I think it's a cool item, and I think it might actually be on the upper side of good. That's my tentative review of this item so far. I'm looking forward to having, like, a whole run, and, I mean, it should be a whole run unless we die, I guess, where we can actually take a little bit of time to experiment, evaluate this item, come up with a good use case, etc., etc., etc. Hey, back off, mister. I'm just trying to get a kill. Alright. Polydactyl. Pretty fly. Pretty fly better than Polydactyl. It's a rare case where the squeeze is even better than the juice. So come in here. I'll give you a try, but... Oh, I did not mean to give that to you. I'm not too confident in our Demon Judgment's ability to pay out here, but we'll see. Very sorry, Key Beggar. You, well, quite frankly, you just don't deserve to exist, so... play you, blow this up. It's a big moment for us here. I would like HP, of course. Just realized we got an Eternal Heart because we're not Blue Baby. So it was actually even better to get that Eternal Heart on the last floor than I originally considered. My brain just defaulted to Blue Baby mode, but... You know what? I'll give you a little extra. Ace of Spades, I'm okay with that for now. And actually, I'm not really in the interest of... taking 45 minutes on the second floor here, so I'm gonna blow up our other blood bank and give you the opportunity to impress me. Yeah, so no means we never get another, spacebar item, which is fantastic news, because we want to stick with Book of the Dead anyway, so we might as well enjoy it. Whipworm, I don't know. Might be a case, wow, if only we had a key right now. So that's one I can't blame on the game, though. That's one I gotta blame on my own, can't blame it on the game if you can blame it on the brain. It's a good piece of advice for taking responsibility in your life, I suppose. Can't blame it on the game. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Don't hate the player, hate the brain. Dude, I love Tesla Coil, which is actually Jacob's Ladder. I've been playing a little bit of, I am safe. I've been playing a little bit of, Wizard of Legend, as you've probably seen if you watch my channel, and, you know, if you haven't watched Wizard of Legend yet, allow me to do the thing that, like, CBS does, where, you know, they know 45 million people weekly watch The Big Bang Theory, and, hey, condottieri, you've disrupted my video with your financial generosity. Thank you, but simultaneously, no, just thank you. Look at this. So, you know, the Isaac series is popular. Not every other series hits those highs and the lowest lows with the windows down while this song's guiding you home. Oh, we want them both, no question. Go watch Wizard of Legend. That game is fun. It's the best roguelite I've played in a long time. Sometimes people think I'm taking a shot at Gungeon when I say that. Everyone knows I love Isaac. People for some reason think I dislike Gungeon, which is not even close to being the case. Gungeon came out 3.5 years ago, okay? It's not recent. Wizard of Legend is new hotness. You gotta give it some respect. Anyway. What about Nuclear Throne? Nuclear Throne has existed since 0 AD, okay? I'm not taking shots at any other games. I'm just saying Wizard of Legend is good. And by the way, I was trying to think of a second CBS show this entire time to tie in with the metaphor, but I couldn't do it. And I own cable. So that should be something that just lets you know. I guess I rent cable, but that should be the thing that lets you know that traditional media is done. I don't have the cable, I have premium cable. I got the movie channels. Just in case you're wondering how my life's going. I get the movie network. It's totally not because I got HBO for Game of Thrones and don't want to call the cable provider and cancel it because I'll have to talk to a human being. Dude, I really feel like it's an interesting topic for conversation. I know I'm going to be vilified a little bit here. I'm just going to ask you to reserve judgment. But, you know, over the course of it, and there's a little bit of a backlog on these videos, but not too much. You know, so this is fairly recent. Over the past couple of weeks, there's been kind of like a Götterdämmerung for very popular television shows, including, you know, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which I've seen 2 or 3 seasons of. I think it's a fantastic show. And, you know, the addendum to this is that it's already been saved. It's been picked up by Fox for another site. Doesn't matter. Anyway, you know, it's still going to be on the air, is the important thing if you're a fan of that show, which you might be, because it's actually really good. And then The Expanse is another one where it happened, and, you know, as of right now, as of the time of this recording, I think that nobody knows if it's actually been saved yet, if it's coming back, but that's another show that's critically acclaimed, but I guess is maybe a little too expensive for sci-fi. We're in this weird era where, I really feel like a lot of these cable TV shows are just totally screwed. You know, I mentioned it on the show, and I think Rob took a little bit of offense to it, but I think there's a discussion to be had there. You got a show like The Expanse, you got a show like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, where a huge chunk of its target demographic, don't take this the wrong way, probably watching it semi-legally. It would be, I think, a good way to describe it. And, you know, that's, you know, Rob, he's right when he responded, like, in some countries on Earth, you know, people don't have the ability to watch things legally, or they have to wait several months for them to come out. I understand where you're coming from on that. I really, sincerely do. But it's kind of a moment of reckoning for some of these shows, right? I mean, everybody knows at this point, like, just put it on Netflix. I don't know if I don't know Netflix's business model 100% when it comes to TV shows like this. Like, would Andy Samberg be too expensive for Netflix? I don't know. They had Kevin Spacey, you know, before the whole everything went down. That must have been a pretty expensive contract for them to maintain. But, you know, I feel for you. If you're a big fan of a show on NBC, ABC, Fox, CBS, etc., etc., you're like, I don't really want to pay way too much money a month just to watch this one TV show. And then the TV show gets canceled, and you're like, well, that makes perfect sense, I suppose. It's strange, you know? The idea of having cable, and I have cable, but the idea of having cable is, it seems so outdated. I have cable because I like sports. I've talked about it before, and You know, maybe a couple times a month, I'll sit down and watch something. That's about it, though. Like, it's basically a waste of money. But we do get it a little cheaper because of, you know, the fact that we have the internet through the same company. But it's not a good use of finances. But, you know, in my head, I'm like, am I willing to pay, you know, $50 a month to essentially watch, like, 8 Vancouver Canucks games per month between the months of October and April, because they sure as heck aren't making the playoffs anytime soon? And the answer is largely yes, but I understand optically for most people that's just not sensible. But yeah, it's just not a good deal, is it? It was the worst possible time to use that. But at the same time, you know, a lot of these shows, well, it's different now, right? Because, like, Netflix just has it under control now. I guess it would have been a lot more different like 5 years ago before Netflix released like a single Netflix original. Maybe 6 years ago now. I'm trying to remember when like House of Cards came out. If you're like 14 and you're watching this video, you may not remember, but relatively recently there was a time where there were like 4 Netflix originals, and every single one of them was an event, I should say. Now you go to Netflix, you know, there's new Netflix originals every single day, and a high propensity of them are actually pretty dope. You guys been watching Evil Genius? It's the new Making a Murderer. It's riveting. Fantastic. What's going on with Bill Rothstein, dude? I don't know. Don't tell me. I'll probably have finished it by the time this comes out, I should say. But anyway, I digress. Cable's in a weird spot. But people they also don't like to hear, like, you know, well, if you want to see some more episodes of The Expanse, maybe you should subscribe to Sci-Fi. Oh, that's ignorant, NL. Why don't I just hop in my money rock? No, I know, okay? It's not, I know it's not free, but it's kind of like, what do you expect? That's where I'm coming at it from. Now, is it worth $40 to $100 a month to watch The Expanse? I'm just going to tell you that I don't know because I've never seen it. I already told you that in advance. It would be irresponsible of me to answer that question. You may not have realized it, but on this show, I try not to talk about things I know. Or I try not to talk about things I don't know, which is why I'm silent the majority of the time. I'm just saying, I'm not suggesting that you should feel guilty if you're a fan of The Expanse. Watched it under dubious circumstances, and now it's in strife. And I definitely agree, by the way, that if you're a cable network in the year 2018, or 2020, depending on how big the backlog is right now, and you're not putting your stuff online for people to watch it for a very meager fee, you're behind the times, okay? Like, I don't want to insult the Sci-Fi Network, but straight up, dude, nobody's buying cable just for you. Like, don't get a big head about it. Just put the episodes on. Make a season like $15. I think you'd get more support than you might expect. They might do that already, to be fair. I honestly don't know, but yeah, you know, it's an outdated business model. It also seems crazy that Netflix is $15, and I know that, you know, a lot of people malign Netflix a little bit. Maybe they're, oh, we gotta pick them both up, dude. The you know, quality of shows less consistent, but there are more of them, I think, than there used to be. And you know, the Marvel movies don't always come there in the first day of DVD release anymore because Disney's playing hardball or something. Anyway, but it's like $14 a month. You get no ads. All the episodes of whatever show you want, except for like the rare one, are all released simultaneously. And cable is like, it's $40 a month, at least. Bunch of channels you don't even want, just to get like 3 channels you do want. And there's ads. What do you do? And well, I mean, now actually, like with digital cable, you can, you know, like watch things on demand. But even still, like, it's quite plausible that the show that you want, you can only catch it when it airs on primetime because they want that sick ad rev, dude. It's crazy. It's more money for worse service. In almost every, like, objective category. The only thing they have an advantage in is the ability to, you know, pay top talent. But even then, like, I feel for HBO. I feel like if it weren't for HBO, Game of Thrones would never exist. Because Netflix would have taken one, especially back in, like, 2011, Netflix would have taken one look at that and been like, you want how much money per episode? That's crazy. Absolutely. We just literally cannot afford it. HBO is like, don't sweat it, we got you. Of course I'm gonna take Libra, don't even sweat it. Rate of fire up, damage down, speed way down, which is actually fine, because it means that we're basically robbing from our speed to get rate of fire, which I think is pretty excellent. Try this. I don't think we're going to be able to afford it, so... Not yet, anyway, so let's just move on. By the way, we haven't talked about it in a while. How's the run? It's good. It's a good run. How much is Book of the Dead helping? It's... You know? It's tough to say. I'm not trying to malign an item that has been pretty solid for us so far. It's more like, you know, we have so many orbitals now. There's no way, you know, especially with Brimstone here just crushing most enemies pretty quickly. There's no way we're ever gonna need this many orbitals, but on the bright side, it just goes to show, you know, I'm gonna be polite. Okay, Condottieri! You're creating an awkward situation for me, even though I'm very appreciative of the support, okay? I'm getting the feeling that it's, you know, maybe you know or you're guessing that I'm recording right now, which is a safe bet because, you know, this is how I spend probably about 40% of my waking hours on a regular basis. Monday to Sunday is recording, but, you know, at the same time, no, I'm just appreciative for the most part. But I know now, and the reason I hate this comment is because the comment is right. There's gonna be a couple of people, it's ridiculous that he doesn't turn off the Streamlabs integration in OBS before he starts recording. I was trying to sleep and I heard a cheer sound and it woke me up and it woke up my child and they started to cry and they couldn't get back to bed and I got fired from my job. Okay, now I'm being like a little, perhaps exaggeratory. Hyperbolic. Much better. Better word. But still. You know what? You got me. That's all I can say is I got Kutchered. I got punked. Which, the name of the show should have been Kutchered. That would have been more evocative, at least. Okay, so I think this is our item room. I mean, I know it's our item room. We're going to take Seraphim, and I'm going to try to get, like, maybe a teleport card. We got 28 bombs. I know we could go back to the shop, and, you know, you could always get something good from the shop, but... What are you looking for here? Like, what are you expecting to find that's going to change your run this much? I don't know if there's a good answer there. So if you would do me a favor and just give me a huge stat increase that works with Libra, yeah, Betrayal, that should do it. As long as you ignore the fact that it's literally 0% of what I asked for. I just got shot across the entire map and I have no idea what's doing it. That was very strange. We lost all our orbitals. Maybe that's what was doing it? Well, I don't mind getting a little lump of coal. What is happening? Why are you bouncing around so much? I feel like I'm losing my mind. Alright, just quickly check what's going on in here. Nah. It's just not good enough. It's not necessarily bad, and, you know, there's something to be said about experimental treatment, although I think there's a reasonable chance that it might roll every stat down. Like, if the aggregate statistical change was negative, then we would get a modest... Probably more like a mild, to be honest. All stats downgrade, which, you know, I can't imagine a worse Isaac hangover than accidentally taking an all stats downgrade and immediately being forced to fight every boss in the game back to back. That's like when you were out too late the night before. You wake up and it's like, you know... 45 minutes after your alarm was supposed to be off, you gotta, like, rush to get to work. I wouldn't really know what that's like. But I was in college, so I knew what it was like for a time. Why not? We gotta rebuild our whole, infrastructure here. It was obliterated by Mom. I still don't understand what was happening with, like, the enemies teleporting across the map. I'm thinking it's either related to Book of the Dead or we've got some kind of tier effect that I've forgotten about or... Oh, it's such a waste. Even as I pressed it. You ever have those situations where, like, your brain sends like a don't do that message, but you've already sent the message to hit like the button. So your hand presses it, and even before it presses it, you're like, oh, you idiot.
That's why you always do an async await.
Alright, easy room regardless. And we'll continue moving along here. Ooh, you know, we haven't had a small rock. But I have to think, well, no, we don't have to think apparently, but I should think, is a small rock plus Libra an all stats upgrade or an all stats downgrade? Because it is obviously a damage upgrade, but it's also a rate of fire and a speed decrease. And I mean, you know, my basic arithmetic tells me 2 is a larger number than 1. It has a greater magnitude. But, I don't know. The damage is 1. No, the damage is... I actually don't know. The rate of fire loss is 1. I can't even remember if there is a speed loss, so... You know, I'm like 50-50 on that. Do we have Guppy's Tail? Have I lost my mind? I'm starting to wonder, why are we getting so many golden chests? We do have Guppy's Tail. Okay, so we must have picked that up, like, our first deal with the devil. I wasn't even focusing on a Guppy transformation at all. I think as soon as I get Brimstone, it just, like, purges the rest of the items from the list of... my internal list of them. So if we get a deal with the devil chance, which is plausible because of the XL floor interaction between the last floor and this floor, we should endeavor to complete this Guppy transformation, but it's mostly like, you don't need me to tell you this is a pretty easy run so far. And I will, you know, go to bat for the fact that I think Libra was actually the wrong choice from the perspective of trying to win the run, but, you know, from the perspective of being a cool dude who takes dope synergies and doesn't worry too much about the way that they interact all the time, 10 out of 10. Haven't really done a great job of rebuilding our orbital stack so far either, but, you know, it's a long way to go. Again, you know, you're seeing me not pick up a lot of these consumables, and the discerning minds amongst you are probably like, what's wrong, NL? It's not like that, okay? It's just that I don't need... I need keys. I should be picking up keys, which means I should be opening up chests. But money, I'm not going to sweat too much. I'm not going to go out of my way for a penny, okay? Because I don't want to fight Hush. He killed us. And that's like the rudest thing you can do to somebody. Except in, I guess, like a situation where they would like you to do so for the quality of their life or their dignity or something like that. But, you know, I may be wrong, but I don't think that's the kind of issue I really want to get into when I'm playing a video game. It's not really the time nor the place. We had that happen. You know, it's like we live in controversial times. Politically, obviously. You're doing the NLSS, a show where we talk about, like, you know, well, what's your favorite kind of underwear? And then somebody in chat was like, and they're a subscriber, so again, whenever I do this, it's not to, like, out somebody as being a jerk, it's just to, you know, mind the human condition for laughs, I guess. Somebody was like, talk about the conflict in the Gaza Strip. What do you want us to say? We're idiots. Like, we're smarter than most people because we know that we're idiots, at least. But we're still dumb. You know, it's not that kind of show. If you're looking at, like, Twitch streamers and YouTubers, at least in the video game sphere, because obviously, like, there's, you know, smart people who use these platforms for distribution, but you're popping into, like, my chat. What do you think of Benjamin Netanyahu? I don't know, dude. First off, I have no opinion because I am just ignorant of that issue. And secondarily... Ooh, it's not bad. Secondarily... It would be irresponsible of me to tell you I'm like an entertainer. It's not necessarily irresponsible for like an entertainer to talk about serious issues, of course, and a lot of humor is mined from the most serious of issues, at least when it's done properly. But it would be irresponsible of me, who basically gets all my political news and sentiment from Twitter, to just parrot that and act like I'm some kind of, you know, credible source. So I'm just saying, you know, for those of you out there who might be, what does NL think about the issue of euthanasia? You don't need to worry about it. It's not relevant to the conversation at hand, which is what's your favorite kind of underwear. Personally, I prefer the underwear. You know, boxer briefs, I think they frame everything in the proper way. They hold it in without being restrictive, and they give you a dignified appearance. After that, I gotta be honest, I'd probably go to briefs over boxers. Boxers, and don't take this the wrong way, if you're still a boxer wearer, I could just be wrong. I could be ignorant about this. This is why I shouldn't bring my politics into these videos. Whenever I see an adult and they have like a little line of boxer shorts that are coming out of their jeans, I just go, oh, so he's been wearing the same pair of underwear since he was in middle school. Because that was like the status symbol when we were in middle school was, check it out, dude, I got some Joe Boxer. You're not wearing Walmart tidy whities anymore? Nah, I'm a man now. I wear Joe Boxer. It's got a smiley face on it. It's extremely adult. I don't like the boxer shorts though, because everything just kind of is rattling around in there. I like it to be locked down a little bit. I don't like baggy clothes. I like everything tucked in as well as possible. You know, not tucked in like Buffalo Bill. I just mean like everything in its right place, like track 1 off of Radiohead's magnum opus Kid A. Okay. Pyromaniac. Certainly not bad. Euthanasia. How convenient. The common cold, sure. And the black bean. Well, not all those items are horrible. In fact, all of those items were at least semi-useful. Tough love. Well, I don't know if it synergizes with Brimstone at the best of times. And then combine that with our negative luck stat, and I think you'll have a cause macabre. Not really an enormous fan of that item, but, you know, the more the merrier, as long as we can get some keys. Although, actually, we don't need any keys, because we're so unlikely to get many more chests. Duct tape, no thank you. So really, this whole run, the purpose of it comes down to, like, how did we feel about Book of the Dead? I think this is a fine item. It's not as good as Satanic Bible. It's probably not as good as Book of Revelations. Excuse me, no spacebar items? I feel betrayed. And, I mean, depending on the... I think it maybe falls in, like, the... How to jump telepathy for dummies tier, which is to say, totally usable. And, I mean, I underrate how to jump, admittedly, just due to my playstyle, but, you know, situationally usable, let's put it that way. You got no other, spacebar items? I think you'd be happy to see it. Like a cut below the top tier books, including Book of Shadows as well, but still pretty solid. But I might be, if I had to guess if I'm underrating or overrating, like obviously I'm guessing that my assessment is fairly apt, otherwise I would just change it right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a greater upside to this item than I'm giving it credit for right now. We did have like a substantial amount of orbitals for a long, long time. We took very little damage through that section of the game. But is that because of the orbitals, or is that because of Brimstone, you know? There's a whole cluster of circumstances you gotta consider. Hey, back off, mister. The big regret on this run, if there is one, is taking Libra for sure. But, to be honest with you, I'm probably rarely going to regret taking Libra, because it always adds just a little spice. It's like putting a little sriracha on your run, or I was going to say on your food, but you know, if you want to mix the metaphor, sure, it's like putting a little sriracha on your run. That's worth it. Like, not necessarily, you know, you might be tired of sriracha now, Lord knows. Sriracha, you know, great hot sauce, but it is also kind of like the, how do you do fellow teens of hot sauces at this point, you know? McDonald's has got like a sriracha burger and stuff like that. The Burger King sriracha ketchup. It's a... Come on. Okay? Try out some other hot sauces, dude. What about some sambal oelek? That's the new hotness. You know that chili paste? You go to a Chinese restaurant, they have the soy sauce, they have the chili paste in the weird discolored plastic jar with a little spoon, and your parents go, ooh, don't eat that, you don't know how long that's been here. Eat that, dude! It's a great hot sauce. Highly underrated. Next new hotness, guaranteed. What about some gochujang, dude? Very spicy, but also very sweet. classic hot sauce. Don't even get me started on Cholula, the all-time classic with the wooden bulb as the lid. 10 out of 10. Stop hitting me. It's undignified. It's a long floor. Am I just realizing it for the first time how long this floor can be? The bomb synergies are out of control. There we go, freaking finally. We have Pyromaniacs, so I'm going to use bombs. I probably should have been using them more often to begin with. And our run is kind of, to be honest, it kind of hit a wall, and now it's just coasting to the finish line, but that's okay. Because we have, you know, in a strange sense, we have piercing shots. We should, and this just flew in the face of what I was about to say, but we should be able to use bombs to block shots? Nope, okay. I don't know why. Doesn't even matter how hard you try. Thanks, Book of the Dead, for your support. Hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. It helps a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.